Welcome back, guys. I've got my first 2,000 point Strike Force RTT this weekend since the balance update, and I'm really excited because I'm bringing the same list I've been grinding for the last 3 months. I'm not changing it, I'm not tweaking it, I'm just going to stress test it into the new meta and see if it still holds up. And honestly, since my last tournament, I'm 5-1-1 with this list into competitive practice games, so I feel like it's earned the right to get put on the table. So I've got my first Strike Force RTT this weekend, and for me, this is the perfect chance to see how my list performs into the new meta. Practice games are great, but a tournament is different. You're going to run into different archetypes, different skill levels, and people who are playing to win. And so you find out really fast what's real and what isn't. And since there's a GT coming up in 2 weeks, I'm using this RTT as a practice run for that. And the best part is, I'm not even changing my list. The list is 4 big knights, a ton of cultists for board control, and some annoying tech pieces. I have a Knight Abominant. It's one of my control pieces. It forces battle shock tests. It puts out mortals, and the 3 damage gun is honestly really nice in certain matchups. And being able to give it sustained hits to go along with the dev wounds, that's just a good time. Next is the Knight Despoiler. Pretty standard double Gatling cannons, but I do take the auto cannons on top because they're twin linked instead of the rocket pod that most people use. And with the enhancement giving it sustained and lethal hits, this thing can punch way harder than people expect. I've used it to kill 20 orc boys with a 5-up feel no pain, or even pick up a Knight Errant in a single activation. Then I've got the Knight Rampager as my main melee threat. It gets dev wounds on the charge, all of its melee weapons have sustained, and I can give it advance in charge or fall back in charge. And because it's a character, I can also use Epic Challenge to give it precision. So, if I need to, I could just rip a character out of a squad using dev wounds, even if I don't kill the whole unit. And then I've got the Knight Tyrant with Volcano Lance and Plasma. This is my long-range anti-tank piece, and it also screens out a huge part of the board with the 12-inch reserve denial. And it's also just really funny giving sustained hits to the Volcano Lance when it pops off. The enhancement is a big deal too, because it lets me scout 3 units of cultists, which helps me screen early and lock in scoring right away. I also have a unit of blue horrors to help secure my scouting positions. They're super annoying for my opponent to deal with. If they commit too much into clearing them, I can counterpunch with the knights. If they commit too little, or if I go first, I can sometimes jail them partially into their deployment zone. And more often than not, my opponents complain about this unit because I make it so annoying that they have to deal with it. And then to round it out, I've got 6 units of 10 cultist mobs. These are the secret sauce. They let me sticky objectives, screen the board, screen charges, score points, and they help power the detachment. With this list, I usually only have 1 cultist unit in reserve. Depending on the terrain layout, I might put a knight in reserve too, but that's not the normal plan. If I go first, I'm scouting cultists forward, securing objectives, and I'm usually trying to jail the opponent with the blue horrors. And when I say jail, I mean I'm using them to block movement and keep my opponent stuck in their deployment zone. With that jail active, I can stage my knights more aggressively because it limits their ability to see the knights early. If I go second, I'm hiding basically everything behind cover except the blue horrors. It's impossible to secure all of my scout positions and keep them completely hidden. But the upside is, if I'm going second, my opponent usually has to play more aggressively to prevent a bottom of game scoring win. And that plays into my strength, because it's really easy to score 20 points going last if you've set up the board correctly. So what I'm actually practicing this weekend is pretty simple. First, I want to see if this list still holds up into newly released detachments. Second, tempo. Did I commit at the right time, or did I throw something away early? Third, target priority. Did I focus on the pieces that actually matter? And the big one, scoring threshold. Can I still score 70 plus points per game? Since my last tournament, I've gone 5-1-1 with this list in practice games. and I try not to just get pickup games against random people. I'm practicing with other competitive-minded players on the missions and layouts for upcoming events. I also want to shout out Valley Forge Wargaming for bringing together players in Cache County and raising the skill level of everyone involved. And another shout out to Empress Rejects for inviting me to their practice sessions and events and helping me get reps into a wider variety of armies and archetypes. Because without these groups, I'd probably be winning more practice games, but losing more tournament games. And I know that for a fact because that's exactly what happened before. Alright, now let's talk about what I'm expecting to see at the RTT. Looking at the roster of players currently signed up, here's what I'm expecting to see this weekend. 2 Imperial Knights, 1 Adeptus Sororitas, 1 Necrons, 1 Blood Angels, 1 Deathwatch, 1 Tau, 1 Drukhari, and 3, I have no idea what. Adeptus Sororitas is definitely a matchup I respect. Morven Vol usually kills most of my army, and it's very difficult to prevent. I tease one of my teammates all the time that Morven Vol is basically the whole army. I don't think I've played against Sororitas with this exact list yet, so I might be able to screen out the rapid ingress, but we'll see if I match into it. Blood Angels isn't a bad matchup for me, but I've played against Jaden at a few events, and I'm currently 1-2-1 against him. So I guess it's my turn to win or tie again. Tau is also pretty scary. I've tested a 5-night Lords of Dread listed to what I think this player is bringing, and I got wiped. But I didn't play that game with this list, and I do have some options, especially if I can eliminate or screen the Storm Surge. For the missions and layouts, round 1 is taking hold on a tippy point layout. Pretty standard mission, 5 points per objective, up to 15 per turn. Layout 6 is a little weird, but it's manageable. I'm anticipating I might need to put the Abominant in reserves to start, because it feels like a trap to put a knight behind the central ruin, unless I'm playing into a heavy melee army. Round 2 is Scorched Earth on Search and Destroy. This one's different because you can score points by removing objectives. It's also tricky with reserve cultists because I can't just rapid ingress them onto an objective if there's no threat over there. In most matchups, I need to deploy everything behind the 2 ruins in my deployment zone, and it can feel really easy to get boxed in early. But if I use my threat correctly and do the same thing to my opponent, it should work out. Also, this is the only deployment where I can sticky the middle objective with a scout move if I go first. So securing that scout move is important. Round 3 is taking hold on Search and Destroy. So we're repeating the mission from round 1 and the deployment and layout from round 2. Sticky on the middle objective is important again. I might put the Abominant in reserves here for a rapid ingress threat later, so I can push them off the No Man's Land objective on their side of the board. I feel like that matters even more in taking hold. The main deciding factor for success at this event is whether I can still hit my scoring threshold. After that, I want to have fun, which I've done at every single Battleborn event I've attended so far. The third thing I'm looking at is my overall record. Lately, I've been consistently going 2-1 at RTTs. So if I hit my scoring threshold and still win less than 2 games, that tells me I need more practice with the list. But if I can't hit my scoring threshold and I win less than 2 games, that probably means I need to change the list. So that's the plan for Saturday. After the RTT, I'm going to do a recap video where I break down the games, what worked, what didn't, and whether I'm changing anything going into the GT. Drop a comment and let me know what matchup you think is the scariest for Chaos Knights right now. And if you're at the Battleborn RTT or any event this weekend, good luck and have fun.